Welcome in, everybody. Michael Tharp, EDU, it starts with you. Today we're going to do our second video in the critical theory series, and we're going to answer the simple, well, not a simple, very difficult question of what is critical theory. It seems like no one has a really good answer, so I want to actually go to one of the foundational texts of the movement and see what they have to say about what is critical theory. So today we're going to be looking at Critical Race Theory, an Introduction by Richard Delgado and Jean Stefanchek. And this is one of the seminal books of the movement and is often prescribed in many education classes in universities today in America. So we're going to come down here. What is critical theory? All right, let's even zoom in a little bit more. I guess we can. All right, so let me say this first, though. Critical theory has been around at least since the 1920s. It started in the Frankfurt School. So what we're going to see and learn later is that critical theory keeps kind of branching out and evolving. If you've ever tried to debate a communist, you'll often hear them say that real communism has never been tried. So basically, they just keep changing it because it doesn't work, so they just keep changing it. So critical race theory, we're going to find out, kind of started in the 80s. But it goes back further to the 1920s, actually. So the critical race theory, CRT movement, is a collection of activists. So that's the first thing you have to understand about critical race theory, is it has an activist element. In fact, it's not even a critical theory if there is no activism. So it seeks to spread this to other people. So it's definitely very political in its organization. So it's a collection of activists and scholars interested in studying and transforming the relationship among race, racism, and power. The movement considers many of the same issues that conventional civil rights and ethnic studies discourses take up, but places them in a broader perspective that includes economics, history, context, group and self-interest, and even feelings and the unconscious. So again, where I'm doing this because I want to stop social emotional learning coming into American classrooms, specifically my child's. So you see that there's a place in critical theory to talk about your feelings and your unconscious, to essentially try to change who that person is fundamentally. Now this is where it gets really, really eye-opening. Unlike traditional civil rights, which embraces incrementalism and step-by-step progress, critical race theory questions the very foundations of the liberal order. So what you have to understand is critical race theory seeks to destroy liberalism. And I tell people, if you are on the right and consider yourself a conservative, stop calling people on the left liberal. There is very few liberals left on the left, and the ones that are typically called right-wing extremists. Now, including equality theory. So again, they don't believe in equality, they want equity. And those two words are diametrically opposed. Equality means treating everyone the same, no matter their skin color, race, gender, whatever it is. Okay, equity is actually, like what you would think of classical Marxism as, is taking from one group and giving to the other group. So again, there's a huge difference between equality and equity. So again, think this has very profound consequences if we start allowing this to be in K through 12 education. Well, it is, but if we allow it to continue to grow. Legal reasoning, Enlightenment rationalism. So if you're not familiar with that is just kind of like, this where we get the scientific method, using facts, logic, and reason to come to a conclusion. So critical theory seeks to destroy the liberal order, equality, and the Enlightenment and rationalism that's based on facts, logic, and reason. They believe those things to be racist. And neutral principles of constitutional law. So essentially the Constitution in their minds is white supremacist and steeped in racism. Although CRT began as a movement in the law, it has rapidly spread beyond that discipline. So again, they are admitting This isn't just in law. This isn't just in education. It is spread everywhere. Today, many in the field of education consider themselves critical race theorists who use CRT's ideas to understand issues of school discipline and hierarchy, tracking, controversies over curriculum and history, and IQ and achievement tests. So again, this notion that we're often told that CRT doesn't exist, or it's not in education, or we're not using it to make any decisions. Again, this book is from 2001. I know it says 2006, but this is like a copy or something, but the original book was from 2001. So it was 20 years ago. And they're already admitting this is in academia. There are people in education doing this who want to spread it even more. Let's see here. Where were we? Political scientists ponder voting strategies coined by critical race theorists. Ethnic studies courses often include a unit on critical race theory, and American studies departments teach material on critical white studies developed by CRT writers. Unlike some academic disciplines, critical race theory contains an activist dimension. It not only tries to understand our social situation, but to change it. It sets out not only to ascertain how society organizes itself along racial lines and hierarchies, but to transform it for the better. Now, of course, at the end there, he's trying to make it sound good, but what does this actually do and how is it actually done? And we're going to get into that in other videos, but the last thing I want to hit on is the activist component. The goal of critical theory is to create more critical theorists. So as you start to see these words in your children's school, diversity, equality, and inclusiveness, you have to understand, though, that is critical theory. That is Marxism. They want to change children to have a critical theory, to view everything through a racial lens. Everything must be viewed through a racial lens. So there it is, guys. That's what critical theory is. It wants to destroy liberalism. It wants to destroy Enlightenment rationalism. It wants to essentially destroy colorblindness. It wants to destroy neutral principles of constitutional law. And it wants to destroy equality. I think those are good things we should try to maintain and hold on to. So if anyone needs to know and understand what is critical theory, critical race theory, there it is from one of their leading scholars, Richard Delgado, who was actually at the beginning of the movement. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Please like, comment, and share down below. Subscribe to the channel. Obviously, YouTube is not like this content, so they're going to do everything to make sure nobody sees it. So you guys liking it, sharing it out, subscribing will definitely help get the word out and try to help to educate and inform people on critical theory. We'll talk to you guys in the next video.